Welcome to the October 28th, 2022 Governance Committee meeting of the St. Lawrence County IDA. Call to order, please.
Sure. Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. Labatt.
Okay, we have in front of us governance documents, resolutions. I assume that you have read the resolutions.
I have read the resolutions.
And would you like to bring them to the floor?
I will bring them to the floor.
I will second that. Any discussion about these resolutions, starting with the annual review, conflicts of interest policy?
Sure, I'll just mention that we've taken a look at the conflicts of interest policy, the model that is on the Authority's Budget Office website. And it doesn't appear that there's any changes that need to be made at this time.
Mr. Hall?
I concur with that.
Excellent. And we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor of moving the resolution forward, say aye.
I
Aye. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. And we'll move on to the next resolution. Annual review of the procurement policy. Would you like to bring that to the floor also, Mr. Hall?
certainly would.
And I will second that. Discussion? Lori?
Sure. Yeah, nothing, we looked again at the policy. We did update this policy last year. We increased the threshold limits and it appears that everything's still in sync this year. So no changes needed this year.
Okay. I agree with that assessment. Appears to be the same. All in favor of moving the resolution forward, say aye.
I
Aye. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. The resolution will be moved forward. The third resolution is an annual review of the investment policy,
will bring that to the table.
and I will second it. Any discussion?
No discussion other than, again, we've reviewed the guidelines, the recommended guidelines with the ADO, and it appears that we're in line with their recommendations.
And this would be similar, or the way I read it, the same as what we had before.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. We have three more meetings after this one that include these same resolutions. When we get to those meetings, I will entertain because the policies are the same, I will entertain a consent agenda for those three.
think that's a good idea.
Moving on to current or new policies. Annual review of the sexual harassment policy. This is for discussion only, correct?
Yes, it's a current policy that we have. It appears that with looking at the New York State's recommendations, we're currently in line. But just so you know that updates are going to be coming through. There was a public hearing in September that the Department of Labor had led, and there were comments. They were accepting comments in so that they can update these policies. Now that there's a remote work policy and some other human rights amendments, I think we're going to be seeing some of this stuff updating here in the near future. But we do a review every fall, and so I think that for right now to update our annual review, we're going to use the same policy that's in place right now without any changes. And then when we do see changes come through, we'll update the policy at that time.
Excellent. I did notice reading this that my recommendation last year is that we have a comprehensive harassment policy. And I noticed that they've now added that verbiage to the bottom of sexual harassment policy.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Nothing additional.
All right, moving on to the annual review of the assessment of internal controls. Discussion.
And again, we haven't seen any changes that are recommended at this time for that policy.
With the authority's budget office guidance,
Yes,
remain
and
consistent.
remain consistent with the guidance. No changes.
Excellent. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move on to, do we need an executive session?
We do not.
Do not. General discussion, and we have a tentative 2023 meeting schedule.
I think we wanted to talk about how we're going to incorporate ideas from the board members and try to put together some sort of a schedule for the 2023 year coming up. We received that a little feedback, right?
Yeah, as we, primarily for the IDA meetings themselves, getting back into a regularly scheduled.
Yeah.
Third Thursday, second Thursday, something, so people, when we went through the pandemic, we got away from that, it was more as needed. We want to have a marker on everybody's schedules for what we think works, and then if we need to move away from that or add or cancel meetings, we can do it, but we'll continue to poll the board members about availability. Just wanted to make sure you.
That tradition is the second Thursday.
There was the fourth Thursday, then we went to the third Thursday, we moved around, it was on Fridays for a time, so we're trying to hit that target that seems to work for everybody.
Well, I think, it is because of the nature of what we do, helping local area businesses. It would probably benefit us in the governance committee if we had a quarterly schedule, which was a week to 2 weeks ahead of
The idea,
like the second Tuesday.
you're required to meet semi-annually, so if you wanted to, you could always meet more.
Right, we end up meeting more anyways, so if we had a regular schedule, it would be easier to plan. I don't know what you think about that.
Definitely. I just think it gives a goalpost for
Yep.
what we're trying to achieve.
Mhm.
And it's, obviously, the board is the priority, securing the quorum and having people present, but then there's also attorneys, applicants who like to know certainty, so.
Well, I'm sure it's a nightmare to try to reach out to 10 people and just say, does this day work? Does that,
The opportunity to talk to you guys is a dream, not a nightmare. It's just the high point for everyone.
Good answer.
So you're thinking semi-annually, huh?
Annually.
I would like to see if we can put together something like that. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the IDA portion of the governance committee.
I will make that motion.
We are adjourned. Moving on to the governance committee, October 28, 2022, local development corporation meeting. Call to order.
Okay, Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here,
Mr. Labatt.
All right, moving directly to the governance documents, I would entertain a resolution consent agenda for the 3 resolutions.
there's no issue with us doing these 3 as a consent agenda.
No, I think the point is, you just met as the IDA, the governance policies, other than being for the separate organizations, are the same.
They're a mirror of,
They are, yes,
That's why.
right, which is certainly,
right, and this meeting, I think we'll have 4 meetings broadcast together, so somebody can see that. Rather than having the redundant discussion, it's just a case of efficiency and common sense carrying the
I
day.
couldn't agree more.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nays? The ayes have it. Resolutions are carried. We're moving on to the current new policies. This would be the annual review for the sexual harassment policy. Is this also identical to the one we previously discussed in the IDA? I would refer anyone watching this to view the IDA's governance committee. We just did, you'll hear the same discussion. Do we need any executive session?
No,
Meeting schedule we talked about also, I would refer you to the IDA portion of the governance committee meeting. We were going to try to have a quarterly meeting schedule for the governance committee. And entertain a motion, we adjourn this one.
I'll make that motion.
We have adjourned that meeting and we are now on the October 28, 2022 Taylor County IDA Civic Development Corporation meeting of the governance committee. Call order, please.
Yes, Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here,
Mr. Labatt.
All right, we have documents in front of us for the governance committee. There are 3 resolutions previously discussed at the IDA meeting of this same group. I would entertain a motion as a consent agenda for the CDC,
and I will make that motion.
and I will second it. All in favor of approving them, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. They will be approved. We will also go next to the annual review, sexual harassment policy, and the assessment control of internal controls. These have been discussed in the IDA portion of the governance committee. Don't believe we have any further discussion unless you have something. No.
No, sir.
Do we need an executive session for the CDC portion of the governance committee? Yeah, we do not. Meeting schedule has been discussed, so we would be appropriate to have Mr. Hall say what he wants to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
And we are adjourned. Lastly, the October 28, 2022 meeting of the governance committee, St. Lawrence County Property Development Corporation. Call to order, please.
Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here,
Mr. Labatt.
All right, governance documents, these will be 3 resolutions that were previously discussed in the IDA portion of the governance committee meeting held earlier today. Entertain a motion for a consent agenda.
I will make that motion.
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor of approving the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. The ayes have it. Motions are approved. Current or new policies and reviews of both the sexual harassment policy and the assessment of internal controls. These also were previously discussed in the IDA portion of the governance committee meeting. And unless we have further discussion, which I do not believe we do, we'll move on to executive session. I'm not sure we need. We do not need. Under general discussion, we had in our meeting 2023 schedule. We previously discussed in the IDA meeting also. And that's done. We're ready to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We are done.
Thank you.